First time my dad ever took me to the golf course, I was 13 years old. Prior to that, for 3 years, I played tennis nearly every day of my life. Once I got to the golf course, I set down the tennis racket for a number of years. But I've still continued to love the game and love to watch it. And you know, the golf swing is a lot like the tennis swing, and I'm going to show you how that works now at 3 levels of play. When someone picks up an implement, whether it's a tennis racket or a golf club, the tendency is, well, I'm holding this thing in my hands. Let's hit this thing over the net or down the fairway with a big action of the wrist. And it really doesn't work, because if I hit the tennis ball that way, sometimes it goes way up in the air, sometimes goes over the net, and sometimes out to left field. Not very reliable whenever I change the pitch of that racket during the swing. Now, the intermediate tennis player soon realizes that they can have a lot more dependable shot production if they form a relationship between the racket and the arm, which is unchanged throughout the swing. So the intermediate player looks something like this. It's fine to hit every shot over the net, have most of them land in play, but if there's no power, there's not a lot of fun, and you're not going to beat a lot of folks. So once the intermediate player establishes that relationship and makes this stroke, if they want to go up to the advanced levels, they have to use the feet and legs. So the advanced tennis shot is an action very much like the advanced golf shot, in that the lower body leads the action. The fixed, established relationship stays the same through the shot, and we get a lot of power. Now, if we compare the 3 levels of golf ability in terms of shot production to the 3 levels of tennis ability, we see the same thing. We see the beginning golfer go out to the course, lock the knees, and try to do the whole thing with the wrists. You've seen this plenty of times. Now, the intermediate golfer soon realizes that if they establish a relationship between club and arms that's unchanged during the swing, they can have accuracy. But boy, there's no power here. And the advanced player establishes the relationship and then moves the club with the lower body. During the demonstration of these shots, you will hear a number of terms used repeatedly relative to the stance and club face position. In golf, we have a shot that we call the punch shot, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you in a moment. Not only how to produce it, but exactly how to set up to produce it. But the equivalent of the punch shot in tennis we've just seen, that's that forehand drive. So remember the elements. When you practice in your backyard or against that wall with a tennis racket, and then bring it to the golf course because you can play both games equally well, we're going to establish a relationship between the racket and the arms. We're going to hold that right through the shot and drive that shot with feet and legs. So the way we accomplish that with a golf club, or in other words, the way we hit the successful punch shot, is we first start by gripping the club down on the shaft, maybe about 2.5, 3 inches. This is, of course, known as choking the club. But what it does is it creates a shorter implement. Everything else about the shot is the same, except that as a result of this change of grip, everything becomes smaller. We're standing closer to the ball. We're a little more seated. And most important, in the execution, what we want is a very limited swing. Now, the backswing is contained, but the drive with the feet and legs is full and powerful. So watch these points as I hit these punch shots. Controlled backswing, drive with the feet and legs. More than any other shot, the punch requires great leg action. Practicing this shot will rapidly improve all of your shots. A lot of folks bring down their score by playing two balls. What I do on my private golf course is I play two pins. It really helps bring down the score, but in reality today we have a valid reason for setting up this green with two pins. You see, if we look at the shot on the left, what we have is we have a very narrow margin because we have a tree on the left and we have the pin cut very close to the left-hand side of the green. So this is an ideal situation to hit what's known as the draw shot. Now the draw shot is not a hook. A hook is a wild, uncontrolled shot that goes from right to left for a right-handed player. The draw is a gentle shot that moves from right to left under a lot of control. And so if we start this ball out just about at the left edge of the right-hand bunker and draw it in, we have a tremendous margin for error here. Conversely, if we look at the right-hand pin, we would have no margin for error here on a draw shot because that right-hand pin is set right behind the trap. And even a straight shot here gives us very little margin. So the ideal shot to play for the right-hand pin is a fade. And the fade is not an uncontrolled slice to the right. It's a gentle move of the ball from left to right for a right-hand player. Ben Hogan made quite a career out of playing the fade, so it's obviously an effective shot. Now the execution of the draw and fade can be seen very easily, again by using the tennis racket as the demonstrating instrument. If we're going to drive that tennis ball straight forward, we establish that angle and we move that racket straight through on line, moving our feet and legs. If we want that tennis ball to go down and to the left, really hook cross court, what we do is we still keep the same angle, but we bring that club up and over, and we would be hitting the tennis equivalent to the golf draw. Conversely, if that tennis opponent hits the ball short, we want to come into the net, hit what's known as a chip shot in tennis, or the equivalent of a fade shot in golf. We still keep the angle, we don't change the swing, but we change the angle of attack, and that would be equivalent to the fade shot in golf. So let's start with the draw. Now in this particular shot, if I were playing this shot absolutely straight, I would select an 8-iron. But the draw is going to go a little further than the straight shot, just the nature of the way it moves through the air. So I've got a 9-iron. Now to produce the draw shot, we have to make a couple of little minor changes in our setup, and then the swing remains exactly the same. The first thing that we do is in making the grip, attaching ourselves to the golf club in the draw shot, instead of bringing the left hand over and down with the space between the two tendons directly on top of the shaft, what we do is we make a slight adjustment of turning that left hand slightly to the right, about 1/4 of an inch. And that in turn turns the right hand slightly to that clockwise direction. Now the second adjustment is in the stance itself. Instead of using the normal open stance that we would use to hit a 9-iron in a straight flight pattern, we close the stance ever so slightly. And what this is going to do is change the angle of attack where the club is going to come across the line, impart a gentle left-hand spin, and bring that ball in from right to left. So with those two minor adjustments and no change in our swing, here's what the draw looks like. After I get in proper position to hit the draw shot, my key thought, perhaps more on the draw than any other shot, is keep that chin back. That allows me to make the full inside turn, make the good aggressive move at the ball, and still keep the club inside the line. Now that we've taken a look at the swing itself, let's take a closer look at the relationship between the club head and the ball. Because the stance has been altered, we see that the path is more from the inside. And this inside path, striking across the ball, produces the right to left spin and the beautiful draw flight. When we fade the ball, we're going to lose a little distance. So as we look at the right-hand pin here, which is set up ideally for the fade shot, if I were hitting that shot in here as a straight shot, I would select an 8-iron. But in this particular case, I'm going to hit the 7-iron because the fade is going to travel, as I said, a little less far. Now, to produce the fade shot, we make a slight adjustment on our grip, just the opposite of the draw change. Instead of coming in, over, and down with the tendons directly over the club shaft, we move the left hand very slightly, 0.1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, over to the left hand side. And of course, that positions the right hand more on top of the club. The second adjustment is made in the setup. Whereas for a draw, we were closed. For a straight shot, slightly open. For the fade, we're going to open the stance even more. This changes the angle of attack, where the club will come straight down the line with the blade slightly open, come on the inside of the path, put a slight right-hand spin for a controlled fade. Now, you're not going to see much difference in this fade swing than the straight or draw shot, because it's all in setup. But as we take a closer look at the relationship of the club head to the ball and the fade, we see that the angle of attack is somewhat different. The club is open, coming straight down the line, and this openness produces this beautiful but controlled left-to-right spin that the fade is all about. You know, there's a lot of occasions, particularly when you're playing with any kind of wind, because whether it's side wind, tailing wind, or into the wind, you want to keep the ball down low. And so there's a lot of occasions to hit what we call the knockdown or low shot in golf. Now, as we know, we only have one golf swing, and that's that automatic golf swing that you've already learned. So how are we going to hit the ball low? We're going to change the angle of attack. And the way we do that is merely make a little adjustment in our original starting position. So in this case, I'm using a 6-iron. But as you'll notice, when I set up this shot and move the ball back to the right in my stance, which will be easy to see, what we've effectively done is remove some of the loft out of the 6-iron. So we're hitting really the loft of, say, a 4-iron. Now, there's no other changes in the swing, the action, the head position, everything remains the same. Except if you'll notice that that ball is well back to the right foot. What we're going to do now is show you how to hit the ball high. Now, this is really obvious. If to hit the ball low, we move the ball back in the stance, all we've got to do to hit the ball high is play the ball forward. Remember that this shot is struck just like every other shot in golf, with our one basic swing, only modifying the starting position. So the proper starting position for the high shot is just the opposite of the low shot. We move the ball well forward in the stance. And therefore, we've created a situation where this 6-iron no longer will have the loft of a 6-iron at impact, but maybe of a 7 or an 8-iron. Now watch as I hit the shot, that the action remains exactly the same. So that you can use these shots to your greatest advantage, we're going to take a look at some sample situations that apply to the various specialty shots. When the pin is on the left and you have a big opening on the right, you'll certainly want to draw the ball in. Much greater margin for error. If there's trouble on the right, there's certainly a lot more reason to draw the ball in from right to left, away from the trouble. And both of these advantages or advantageous situations become enhanced if the wind is coming from the left to control the draw and keep it from overshooting to the left. If the pin is on the right with a big margin on the left, let's fade the ball in there. If we have trouble on the left side of the green, that's all the more reason to fade the ball. Perfect example would be a sand trap on the left side of the green. Now, if there's a wind from the right, it's going to protect us and give us all the more reason to select the fade for this shot. The low shot is used when we want to bring the ball under an obstacle that's relatively close. For example, we have a tree that's close. We can't get the ball up and over, so we play the low shot under the tree. But primarily, the low shot is used in any sort of a windy condition. We don't want to get the ball way up, either downwind or upwind or crosswind, so we select the low shot for most windy situations. The high is just the opposite. If the obstacle is some distance away from us, we're much better off playing the ball up and over that obstacle rather than trying to hit the knockdown shot under it. Another situation that's ideal for the high shot is if the pin is on the very front of the green. Let's bring that ball in nice and high and let it drop softly if we don't have much green to work with. There are a lot of occasions here at Desert Mountain Resort to use the punch shot. For example, if I've driven the ball on a short par 4 up into within, say, 90, 100 yards from the green and really want to control that second shot, what I'll do is select a longer club, choke it down, get more spin on the ball, and hit the shot under more control. But what I want you to remember is that the punch shot is a great shot to practice because it enhances your leg move. In other words, it improves your golf motor move. On the automatic golf video, we talked about an exercise, left hand only on the club, preferably away from the golf course, no pressure, learn to produce the golf motor move. Well, here's a little exercise that you can do at the golf course. And the objective of this exercise, which is to hit all of these balls in a series, is to get the feeling that the golf swing is kind of like a unisex event, that the rhythm of the backswing and that the rhythm of the follow-through, the downswing and the follow-through, are just mirror images of each other. And more than that, that a golf swing doesn't have to be an exact, precise, calculated event. Because of centrifugal force, all we have to do is keep the club in motion, and that centrifugal force is going to make the club come right onto the ball, right per schedule. Now, to do this the easy way first, tee up about 6 or 7 balls in a row, and all you do is put this club in motion and these balls will all fly in about an area as big as a blanket. Now, the advanced version of this exercise, we remove the tees, maybe put another ball or two down in line, and same action. These golf architects, they love to put these bunkers just about the distance that you drive the ball. Well, fortunately, when this ball goes into a fairway bunker, it's probably going to come in at a low trajectory, it's going to bound, and it's going to sit up pretty well. And as an automatic golfer, you're well prepared to play this shot anyway, because the rules of golf say you're not allowed to sole this club in the sand trap. And since in every full shot we hit in automatic golf, we keep that club off contact, we're just light years ahead. Now, actually, I love to throw some balls into a fairway bunker and play this shot for practice. Because to play this shot well, it's just like the punch shot. You must drive with your feet and legs. If you try to scoop this thing out with your hands, you're just going to be nowhere. So what are the elements? The automatic golf swing, keeping the club off contact, shin pointed to the right, and this thing will come out of there just like it was sitting in the middle of the fairway. As we watch the proper execution of this fairway bunker shot, we can understand why it is so valuable to practice this shot. Notice how concentrated I am in keeping my chin back to the right until well after contact. That's the only way that you or I can hit this shot successfully. It is only well after contact that that right shoulder finally brings the head up. Well, gee, this is a fortunate situation. Not only did this ball get in here without bearing, but if you'll notice, I got in here without any footprints. And when I tell people how easy this shot is, they look at me kind of sideways. The reason that the sand shot is so easy when the ball is sitting up nicely like this is because we have a tremendous margin for error. It doesn't make any difference whether we contact the sand 2 inches behind the ball or 2.5 or 3 inches behind the ball. As long as we make this club pass under the ball, that ball is going to come out nice and soft and land up somewhere near that pin. Now, in the process of making it easier for the club to go under the ball, you'll notice that I've rolled the toe way to the right. In other words, I've opened the blade of the club. And therefore, the overall height of the club is much lower and will pass under the ball that much easier. Now, sometimes these dudes fly directly into the greenside trap at a pretty high trajectory, and we get what's known as a fried egg lie. Now, this thing is a little more difficult to extract because the ball is already submerged in this little conical depression. Now, the objective here, we still have to get this club under the ball. The way we do that is we not only open the blade, but we have to amend or change our swing. We have to take this club outside the path, down from a steep angle of attack. Now, the ball is going to come out just a little bit hot. By that I mean when it hits that green, it's going to have some forward momentum. So we hope we have enough distance between the edge of the green and the pin, but we have to apply enough force to get it out, and if that means it goes beyond the pin, that's just what happens. Now, when the sand is damp and the ball comes in at a high trajectory, what's usually going to happen is that ball is going to land. It's not going to make a conical depression as in the fried egg lie. It's just going to bury or half bury in that damp sand. And when we have this sort of a situation, we're not going to be able to pass that club under that ball. The moisture in the sand makes the sand too dense. The ball is sitting down too low. We close the club face. We close it extremely so that the nose of this club will come in, hit the sand 2-3 inches behind the ball. The damp sand will bounce off the club face, and it'll push the ball out. Now, this ball is going to come out hot, which means that we can't carry it up on the green in this sort of a situation, or we'll be playing the next shot from the trap on the other side. So we don't need a lot of force. We just need to bring the club in, toe into the sand, pop the ball out, and have it carry into this bank, hopefully bound up in the air, take the heat off, and roll up to the pin. Now, there's only 17 ways that this shot could have happened. Ball could have hit on the bank, rolled down to the lip of the trap. Ball could have hit on the far side of the trap, rolled clear across the trap to the lip. Ball could have landed just where it is. Your opponent could have come up and placed the ball in that position, and I guess there's at least a dozen or so more. But actually, this shot is not too threatening. We're going to apply the same principles here as we've applied to the shot if the ball were sitting up in the middle of the trap. That means that we're going to extract the ball by passing the blade under the ball. What it is unlikely that we're going to do is pass the blade under this bank. So this blade is going to come pass under the ball. It's going to get into the bank, it's going to stop, but that's going to have relatively little effect on the shot because we're already going to make contact with the sand well behind the ball the ball hopefully is going to come up nice and light, get real close to the hole there. What I want you to watch for as I hit this little pitch shot is that I use the automatic golf swing, nothing changes, except I do it with a nice, slow, easy tempo. Just let that ball float off the blade of the club and approach the hole without a lot of backspin. There's a second way we can play this shot. If there's no trap between us and the pin, and we have some nice smooth terrain, we can play what's known as the pitch and run shot. To play this shot, we select, I've got an 8-iron instead of that pitching wedge that I used on the normal pitch shot. To play the pitch and run, the action is the same, but we're going to let the ball carry short of the green this time, bound up on the green, and hopefully run in the hole. The pitch and run, which we just looked at as a shot that can be used from 30, 40 yards out, is also a shot that can be used from the edge of the green. Now today we're going to deal with two ways to play this little shot of, maybe 15 yards. One of the ways will be the pitch and run, and the other we'll call the chip. But the chip has so many elements like the putt that we're going to come back and show you that after we show you the correct putting mechanics. Now, when we make a shot this small, we are reducing the scope of the golf swing so much that it's very easy to see what really happens. The action is slow, the scope of the action is quite small. So let's take a look at this golf club and analyze how we can hit these shots quite reliably, time after time, where they're going to go online or very close to online without any question about the fact that we're going to hit at least a pretty good shot. If we take and during the course of our backswing, swivel that club open, then during the course of the downswing, what do we have to do? We have to swivel it closed. And if we do that just right, the timing is perfect, we're going to hit a straight shot. But if our timing is a little off and we make contact there or there, we're going to hit a crooked shot. So the first element of having a good, reliable short game is to make certain that that club stays on line during the course of the whole action. Second thing is that if we change the pitch of the club by scooping with our wrists, then we only have one point in which we can make good solid contact. If we're a little late or a little early, we don't have good contact. So the second principle is that we're going to keep this club moving low and level. And we can accomplish that through either the pitch and run, or the chip shot. In the pitch and run, we use our lower body and we simply establish that club relationship and do the whole thing with our lower body. It's real questionable whether putting is an art, a science, or a religious event. But no matter what it is for you, the first thing you got to do is know your putter intimately. And the first thing that you'll notice about this putter of yours is that if it's made properly, that there's loft built into the putter. In other words, we have a degree of angle away from the shaft in the same way we would with a 2 or a 3-iron. Now, without dealing with how much loft is correct, because there's no exact formula there, let's discuss why the loft is built into the putter. If we're trying to roll the ball along the ground, it seems that there'd be no reason to have the loft. The reason that we have a loft is that the very first thing that happens when this putter head strikes the ball, particularly if the putt is of any distance, is that the ball actually, because of this loft, leaves the ground very slightly. And when it restrikes the green, it then develops that beautiful end-over-end spin that makes the ball die into the hole instead of lipping out. So the first principle of putting is that we want to maintain this loft throughout the putting stroke. And therefore, we have to move the putter head and our hands at the same speed. You see, if we move our putter head faster than the hands, we have a stroke that looks like this. And there's only one point at which we can strike the ball when the correct amount of loft is there. Principle number 2 of putting, we borrow from the little pitch shot that we just hit. If we take and roll this putter open on the backswing, we have to make a residual closing action when we make contact. And if we're just a little bit off, we're going to hit that putt way offline. So principle number 1 is to maintain the loft by moving the putter head and the hands at the same speed. Principle number 2 is to keep that blade on line throughout the whole putting stroke. Let it follow its natural arc, no opening and closing, or closing and opening during the stroke itself. Now, the grip in putting is a tremendous departure from what we've been using in the rest of the automatic golf shots. We position our entire hand, right hand, in contact with this putter grip. And the way we do that is we put the right hand on first, just the opposite of the normal gripping. So we get all of these fingers right on the shaft and this thumb right up on top of the shaft. After we position the right hand, we then bring the left hand over, and the forefinger of the left hand comes over the little finger of the right hand. The thumb of the left hand is right on top of the shaft. Now, when we lower that down to the ball, it looks like this. Both thumbs on top of the shaft, all fingers of the right hand on the shaft. Now, with this grip, we are in a position to stabilize that putter so that we can move the hands and the putter head at the same time, and we can also stabilize the putter and prevent the rotation so that we can move this thing squarely. We want to maintain this loft throughout the stroke. So if we move our hands way here, we've eliminated or actually created a negative loft on this putter, and that won't work. The ball will be pinched into the green, and if it does hit the hole, it'll tend to skip out. And if we move back here, we've changed the loft of the putter too. So we put our hands directly over that putter head so that the natural loft of the putter remains. Now, the action of the putt is super simplicity. We simply move the putter head and the hands at the same speed, and the ball rolls beautifully. Before we demonstrated the putting, I promised you another method to play these little shots from the fringe of the green. Now, we've already showed you the little pitch and run shot. What I'm going to show you now is the chip using the putter grip. Now, from this distance, on these little easy shots, you should hole out pretty frequently if you use this method. Now, we grip the club for this little chip shot in the same way that we did with putter. And that means that we're using here, in this case, a 7-iron, and this is the first time in the automatic golf video and all through the early parts of this video that we've taken a club other than a putter and changed the method. Now, the reason we do this is that the distance is so small that we don't need to create dynamic action in the shaft. All we need here is a reliable repeating action. The elements of putting are here, so we use a putting grip. And remember how that works? We put all of the fingers of the right hand on the club, and then we overlap the left hand with the forefinger of the left hand overlapping the small finger of the right hand, and both thumbs down the shaft of the club. Now, it'd be a good idea to shorten that club a bit, maybe choke it down about 3 inches will be fine. And then all we do is use our putting stroke You know how the song goes. I get by with a little help from my friends. Let me share with you 3 secrets of great putting. Keep your eyes directly over the ball. It helps your alignment. Move your hands and the putter head at the same speed. And when you putt, feel like you're playing a violin, not beating a drum. With these 3 things in mind, let's talk putters. Now, you know, there's hundreds of different putters, but too many of them ignore the fundamentals. I've incorporated all the features that I've learned in 40 years association with this game into one putter. I call it the Houdini. Now, this may look similar to some other putters you've ever seen, but it's a lot different. First of all, this head is milled out of solid brass. It's a precision instrument. Secondly, I have a feature in the Houdini when you can change, that enables you to change the swing weight. We can go from heavy, because I like every putter to be at least heavy, up to heavier than heavy, by moving these Allen bolts in and out of this putter. It changes with a snap. You take the Allen bolt out of here with the Allen wrench. We provide this right with the Houdini putter. Now, brass, the material I've chosen, it feels soft to me. It gives you the ability to use that violin stroke. You see, a putter is like a surgeon's scalpel. It's a precision instrument. The slightest variation at the head can mean inches at the hole. It means missing putts that you should have made. So precision is very important. Let me show you how we achieve it. Here we are at the factory where the putter heads are milled. First thing I had to do is come up with the right design. I brought that to Dave, and Dave, you take it from there.
Well, Bob, my first consideration was choosing the right brass for your putter. We chose type 360 brass, and that's a combination of copper and zinc. It's half hard and very durable. It's a special alloy that's 35.5% zinc, which makes it tougher than others. And there's also 3% lead, which improves the metal's machinability, again, for greater precision. The next thing we do in this 12-step process is transfer the design to a specific blueprint for the putter. We do this by using computerized numerical control, or CNC, to lock in the precise specifications.
Dave, it sounds like you're using robotics here.
Well, that's close, Bob. What we're using is CNC machinery. And with this type of machinery, we can guarantee a precision part and repeatability from one piece to the next. You'll get exactly what you want each time. First thing we do is cut the raw brass to rough size. The next step we do is mill the shaft hole. We do this with an end mill to maintain a true diameter and a flat bottom hole. We hold it in a fixture to maintain the angle exactly. We notch in 3 precisely located sight lines to help with your shot alignment. Here's how we machine in Bob's unique adjustable weight feature. Next, we rough cut the shape of the sole in preparation for final milling. Now it's back to the CNC mill, where that nice rocker sole is finished. The last machining step is the loft. It's the perfect angle that gives Bob's putter that friendly roll he talks about. Each head is milled individually, and tolerances are hand-checked for weight and dimensional integrity. And finally, each piece is cleaned and packed individually for protection.
Dave, I want to thank you for the care and craftsmanship that you put in each of these putter heads that you build for me. What I'd like you to tell us now is the advantages of the milled head over the cast head.
Well, to start with, the milled product is much more stable to begin with, and also it affords us the ability to machine with much greater accuracies.
So in terms of the putter, what you get is a more reliable club, a nice feel, and a very dependable sweet spot. Now, we've talked about weight and the advantages and precision of milled brass, but there are other features that translate into better putting for you. One of the most important is the rocker sole. It allows you to make adjustments for the undulations in the green. In other words, even if the ball is below or above your feet, you won't stub the toe or the heel. Likewise, as you improve your putting, come closer in, bring the putter further under your eyes, you can make this adjustment with the rocker sole. Now, there are 3 alignment lines on top of the Houdini. It serves as a slot. You get those eyes over the putter head, and whap, you can see that ball right down the line. Now, the center shaft comes into play here with these alignment lines. Because of the center shaft, it's far easier to get this putter under the eyes and take advantage of these alignment lines. I think what you need to do is keep this thought for a couple of days of keeping the hands quiet and let the pendulum be truly on the line. And I think that will be facilitated. You see, the lines on top of the putter are here for a purpose, and they're here to form a slot right on the direction of the line. What I'd like to see you also do is move a little closer to the ball. That way your eyes will get right over those lines, and you'll be able to see that that direct online action that we're seeking here. Now, the rocker sole facilitates that. Where you're standing now, you're kind of like on the back of the rocker. But because this is sort of like the everyman rocker, as you get closer, the putter will also work for you. So hit 1 or 2 where you're keeping that thought, which you've improved on so much, which is working the putter towards the hole, allowing the putter head to do the work, but stand a little closer and see if it doesn't give you even better alignment. Yeah, your eyes are nice and over the ball now. Much better, much better, much better. You're out of here. Terrific. Wait a second.
Well, I think the weight is the big difference. That's what I feel in it. There's a solid feel to it when I strike the ball, as opposed to the super light putters that I have been using. It's almost like hitting a baseball up on the handle. This thing feels like the meat of a baseball bat. So I get that good solid feel, and with the feel I get the control.
It seems sensible to be able to change weights. They make all different weighted putters. Why not be able to change the weights on one putter?
The putter rolls the ball so beautifully to the hole, and I know that's a combination of being on the correct position with the ball and the putter being heavy enough to just allow you to stroke, and it takes over and sends the ball on the line you intended.
2 things to remember about putting. You use it more than any other shot, and it puts the ball in the hole. Secondly, it's easy to improve rapidly. It doesn't take great athletic ability. Earlier I told you I love to teach putting, and I really do. I want you to give my Houdini putter a try, and I'm going to include absolutely free my new putting video, Automatic Putting. It will give you every technique that you need to make putting truly automatic. But that's not all. This video is also going to give you the details on developing that soft and consistent putting feel, that feel that imparts topspin to give the ball a friendly roll that hunts the hole. I designed my first golf club over 20 years ago, and I don't build any ordinary clubs. Every one of these designs gets my heart and soul. I build the finest products with the finest technology. Now, you can't see the high quality of this Houdini putter on TV, but it's there. You have seen the manufacturing process. I've explained the principles behind the putter. Everything I know is in this putter. There's not going to be 20 different models. This is it. Unless somebody comes out with something that's new science, this is the Houdini. But the only way you can appreciate the quality and experience the magic of the Houdini is to give it a try yourself under my risk-free offer. Don't forget, you'll also receive my new automatic putting video along with your Houdini putter. Even if you return the Houdini putter, I want you to keep the automatic putting video free. I promise you, your game is going to improve either way.
It's a good, sturdy club. Just feels good.
I love it. I've been looking for a new putter, and this is it. I'm really excited about this.
People are going to ask questions about it, that's for sure. Especially when they start seeing you making those putts that normally you didn't make.
Isn't it time you finally master the art of putting? You can't do it with an inferior putter. Bob Mann's Houdini putter will help you become a better putter automatically because of its unique scientific precision design and its quality milled brass construction. The Houdini putter has been specifically engineered to help you master the correct putting motion, to help you develop that slow, smooth stroke that gently pushes the ball to the hole with that friendly topspin roll. You'll find your putt alignment is more accurate and your follow-through automatically consistent. Marvel at the way the putter head seems to automatically ease through the putt at the same speed as your hand movement. The Houdini's rocker sole and dual weight cavities concentrate the weight in the striking area, so less force is needed for a given distance. And Bob's revolutionary adjustable weighting system allows you to customize the club for your personal putting style. Order Bob Mann's sensational new Houdini putter for just $89.95 plus shipping by calling the number below. When you order, you'll receive the putter complete with Allen wrench and a full set of weighting screws. screws that allow you to adjust head weight to your liking. And you'll receive a handsome padded head cover to protect your milled brass putter head from dings and scratches. And you'll also receive absolutely free Bob's all-new automatic putting videotape. Learn how to putt more effectively through strong fundamentals that simplify your stroke. Bob's system will have you putting better instantly and watch your handicap sink to new lows. Why wait another moment? Order the Houdini putter now by calling the number on your screen and have your credit card ready. And remember, you test drive the putter free with Bob's exclusive 21-day deferred billing guarantee.
And remember, I won't even bill you for 21 days. So if you're dissatisfied with my Houdini putter for any reason, return it within 3 full weeks and you'll never be billed.
Call now and the Houdini putter is yours for just $89.95 plus $6.95 shipping and handling. And you'd also get the free head cover and the free automatic putting videotape. And remember, even if you return the putter, the videotape is yours to keep. Either way, you're bound to take strokes off your game. So call this number and order your Houdini putter now.